Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. So today's episode is all about you if you are interested in the medical coding field. These are some of the things that you should know about the hiring process, okay? So let's get into it. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. A lot of times when people are writing me and they're asking me questions about the medical coding field, they're kind of curious about, well, I heard this, I heard that. They hear a lot of wonderful things. That's what really kind of drives their desire to want to become a medical coder. And then when they find out the reality is, well, then they're like, wow, no one ever told me that. So I'm going to talk today about the hiring process and some of the things that you can expect. I did get an email from a viewer. I think it perfectly highlights some of the things that people get told that are not necessarily true, and some of the things that coders are really thinking that they're going to be able to do or get away with, basically, when they become a medical coder. So here we go. All right, so the email goes like this. I'm gonna start off by reading this and then we'll get into it. So the email goes, "Hi Blue, I'm trying to become certified in coding. I was told before getting my medical billing certificate, you do not have to be certified to be a medical biller, I'm just saying, to get a generalized coding certificate. And it was recommended to go through AAPC. I just subscribed to you today, so there's a lot of info. I want to start the course ASAP. I have about 4 years of medical billing experience on the job, but that was back in the 90s. I'm just trying to refresh, update, educate to current laws and changes with ICD-10-CM, etc., or ICD-10, etc. So I'm ready for job placement. I had gone into insurance sales, but I'm no salesperson. I've done medical transcription for 9 years, completed a course, through what used to be the best school is no longer there, but it served its purposes for medical transcription journey so that I could work at home while my kids were still little. So now my sons are 18 and 17, so I'm trying to position myself for a career move, one in a field that will always need people such as coding and billing. However, I will never get the vaccine. I was so thrown off when you mentioned that in your last post. I will never get the vaccine, and I want to work remotely, so that should not matter. So I guess my question, best school for medical coding cert, or is there a general cert? I will not get the vaccine ever. I'm looking at the best school and most economical, I guess, if you can help. I like your channel. Even though you are easy to listen to, it's so much information. I don't know how to pick a school. I just want to go and not take forever going. The sooner I can launch into this career, the better for the long haul." All right. 3 times they mentioned that they will not get the vaccine. Okay, here's the thing, guys. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, but this is the reality of the situation. You turn on the TV, you turn on Facebook, you turn on any news channel, and you will see that there are hospitals that are requiring their employees to have the vaccine. Now, whatever your views are on the vaccine, I'm not here to debate that. What I'm here to tell you is, regardless of whether you are working remotely or whether you are working in the facility, a lot of the facilities are still going to want you to be vaccinated. This isn't the first time that we've been required to have vaccinations. Oftentimes before the pandemic happened, there was the flu shot, and then there was the hepatitis B shot. So there's all these things that they were going to, and then tuberculosis testing. Okay, that's not a shot, but they're going to test you for TB. And so there's a lot of things that they were going to test you for anyway, long before this came along and long before this came about. Now, I'm telling you guys this not to discourage you if this is what you want to do, but if this is your stance on that, I want you to think about all of the nurses who are not working because they refused to get the vaccine. And so even though you may say, well, I'm working at home, so it shouldn't matter. Even though folks are working at home, and you ask anybody who's worked remotely before too, there are some companies that still required them to get the flu vaccine. So there's a lot of things that these employers will put into place to protect their employees or to meet the demands of their own insurance company, because that insurance company is insuring that hospital. And so a lot of times they go say, okay, well, you must fall under this. There is a hospital that is about 25 minutes down the road from me that they have a zero tolerance policy for anybody who uses tobacco products. You cannot use tobacco products and work at that facility, period. So that is a requirement that that facility has on their employees, and they have to be randomly screened from time to time to make sure that they are not engaging in any tobacco use. And that is a serious thing to them. And so that is something that you need to think about. If you are adamant, it is not about that you have this in your head, this is what you want. The reality of it all is that there are facilities, and a lot of them, that are requiring their folks to be vaccinated. So if this is something that you are absolutely against, I want you to think about it before you start spending your time and your money and your energy trying to get in. Because it's already hard enough as it is to be a brand new medical coder. But now if you want to set restrictions and you want to set your own thing about it, then you may be looking for quite some time. Now, I don't know every employer in the world, and there may be some employers who are willing to do that. But from what I have seen and what I have looked at in these job postings, there's a lot of them that are requiring their employees to all be vaccinated. So that is something that you need to think about. If that is your thought process and you're wanting to get into this, this is the medical field. And while we don't touch patients, we have never had contact with patients, we are still employees of a facility or a doctor's office or a practice. And so they all have their own set of rules. So I want you guys to think about that before you choose a field that is medical. Before you choose a field that is medical, consider those things, okay? I've been tested before for chickenpox, right? Because you once you have the chickenpox, they want to do the chickenpox titer. I've been tested for that. I've had to get the Hep B shot. I've had to get the flu shot. Again, when I worked at home for a level 1 trauma hospital, I worked remotely, and they still required me to get the flu vaccine, okay? I get the flu vaccine every year as well because I am an asthmatic, and I was diagnosed as an asthmatic as an adult. So that is important to me. So I do that, okay? I don't smoke, so I don't have that. I don't use tobacco at all, so I don't have that issue. But at my facility, we have a zero tolerance policy for any tobacco use on campus. So they're not as stringent as far as like, if you do tobacco in your off time, that's on you, but you will not have it here at this facility, and you will not have it on our grounds, period. And so that is a thing that they have at their facility because again, when you are working with patients, there are some patients that, can be easily triggered by the smell of smoke, or any of those things. So that is something to think about. You will undergo a background check when you are becoming a medical coder. You're trying to apply at a facility. You will go through a background check. Typically, it is 10 years. Sometimes it will go back as far as 15 years. I've been run back as far as 15 years. And so those are the things that you do need to know. They're looking for offenses, violent offenses, or they're looking for some other kind of history, like if you had identity theft, that is a no-no. In this industry, that is a no-no. So if that is your prior history, then you should know that employers do not look to hire people who have that kind of background. So that is something you should know. Now, sometimes people don't know this, and they get through a school, they get their certification, and then all of a sudden they find themselves, they can't find a job because of that history. Now, you do have to be honest, whatever happened in your history. If you do have something come up on a background check, be honest because they're going to find it anyway. Okay, so again, they typically go back 10 or 15 years, but you never know how far back that place is going to go. And that is something to know. You will be screened, if you know what I mean, where you got to go a place and do a little tinkle. Yeah, you got to do that. I've done that several times. So that is something that is part of our industry as well. Sometimes people will say, well, I take this and I take that and it comes up as this. I don't know if you have to tell the people that, I don't know if that's the case or how people do that, but that is something that you should probably mention, so that way they don't think that you are doing something that you're not supposed to do, because it is understandable, especially if you have a prescription, and if something comes up like that, well, then you can explain it or you can choose not to explain it. It is up to you, depending on your situation. So I just never know what to tell people when they say, well, Blue, I take something that does this. And I was like, okay, I don't know. But just let them know, you know. But they will, I mean, just know that they're going to do these things, okay? Or it's a potential that they will do these things. You know, sometimes people will say that there's an activity that's okay to do in certain states, okay? If we follow along, again. There's a certain activity that you can do in certain states that's okay. And they say, well, Blue, I do this, and I do this on my off time. Am I going to be able to do medical coding? The thing is, if they're, you know, you're having to do these tests, right? And you're coming up as, okay, you've been doing this. Okay, don't be surprised at their response, because we have to be of sound mind at all times, and they don't know, and they don't know when was the last time for you, right? And so that's something that you have to keep in mind, because this is a very serious field, and you cannot be doing those things when you are working with something like health information, okay? It has to be secure at all times, and we have to be of sound mind at all times. So if that is a concern for you, make sure that you do your research and find out if that is something that that facility is requiring, so that way you're not wasting your time or anyone else's time, okay, guys? Because it's important that we all know we're all adults here. We're all adults, and I don't know, because it's so many different. I'm not going to say it's a generational thing, because it's not. I mean, I've seen people that are older than me with these demands, and I've seen people way younger, and I kind of expect it, right? Because it's new to working and things like that. But I don't know sometimes, and I want people to have a realistic picture of what to expect. You know, this is a serious field, and it takes serious people to do it. It takes studious people to do it. It takes people that are going to protect this information. They're going to code it to the highest integrity that they can, because that is what our patients deserve. That is what our providers deserve. That is what the facility that we're working for deserves. So it is a lot. But if you can get through all of those things, you know, that is something that, you know, I mean, it's a good thing if you can get through all of that and you can be ready, you know, because I've been asked too, hey, when I worked for a level 1 trauma hospital, I had never been asked, hey, if you take a test, can you pass a test? Not a coding test, but another kind of test, okay? And I was like, yeah, why? And she was like, well, we've had people, like the last 4 people could not pass that test. And I was like, oh. I said, no, I don't have any issues. And she's like, okay, great. I still had to go. I still had to prove it, you know. But that's all right. You know, I was okay with that, you know. But yeah, that was shocking to me that, you know, she said that, you know, there had been so many people before me that couldn't pass that part of the interview process, the interview thing that you have to go through. So I was like, wow. But yeah, I mean, it happens. So just be prepared for it, and just know that that is a possibility. Again, I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I just want you guys to be aware, because there are people out there that will tell you, oh yeah, you know, you can get into it. Think about who's telling you, right? That you can go through all these things, you can have done all these things, and you can still get into it. Who is it? Who is it that's trying to tell you that? Are they trying to sell you a product? I'm just saying. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, but those are some of the things that you can expect. And I wish you all the best on your journey. I hope you all find what you're looking for. If it is medical coding, great, welcome aboard. If it's not, hey, you know, I'm glad that you did your research. I'm glad that you asked questions, because it's better that you know now than to get into the field or try to get into the field and you can't get in. All right, so like, subscribe, share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.